headed to the gas station. I wanted to get up early this morning and head to the gas station, but I didn't get to sleep until about 6 o'clock this morning. So, e-brake was on. I didn't get to bed till about 6 o'clock this morning, so I was like, I'm not going to the gas station right now because I'm tired, but I could just get what I'm getting in bulk, but then like going to the store gives me a reason to get out, you know. And while, you know, nothing is, you know, we don't like we're not being made to feel uncomfortable, but you know, when you're an adult and you know you want your own spot and it's like, and then when nothing's going on and you kind of feel like you know I should be doing something because you know you're sitting on the bed or you know people are like, well, this man is not working, why is he sleeping during the day, why is he taking a nap? And it's like, well, you know, I put in applications, I did this, I did, you know, I did what I could, you know, and then I'm making content and you know it's like, you know, what else is there? Sometimes you can do nothing but wait, you know. You know, I work. You know, I I made a post about this, but you know, I work all the time. I'm working nonstop. I'm working now, right? Like I'm working all the time. I just, you know, sometimes, you know, people don't, you know, if it don't come with a paycheck, then, you know, people are like, well, does that count? Like, you know, that don't matter. Like, you need to be doing this. And it sucks because, like I said, man, you know, I work my ass off. I just currently not getting paid for it. You know what I mean? So, which I mean, I get it, but then, you know, it's like, well, if I never do it because I'm not getting paid, then I'm never eventually going to get paid. And, you know, then it is what it is, you know. Lexi got a job and she got an interview. And then I got an interview next Monday. The lady called me from the place and she texted me she texted me Saturday night at like 8:30 and she's like, hey, we saw your resume, I would love to talk to you, here's my number, call me. So I was like, well, I'm not gonna call on a Sunday, so I didn't call. So Monday in the morning, first thing I did was call, and I'm like, hey, like, you know, I'm interested, like, what can we do? And she was like, oh, great. Like, you know, we talked, I told them my management style, like what, you know, what I think is important to me and stuff like that. And she was like, oh, that's awesome. Like, can we set up an interview on Monday? And yesterday it was Monday and I was like, oh, great. Like, what time? And I'll be on my way. And she's like, no, I mean next Monday. And I'm like, man, like Monday is a whole 7 days away. Like, what am I supposed to do? So, you know, you keep looking for jobs and stuff like that, but you know, while you're sitting there waiting in the meantime, like, you know. So it is what it is, but I'm at the gas station and I'm at the gas station, you see. So it is what it is, but you know, I'm trying to, I don't know, I'm just trying to figure something out because, you know, I want to get back into my own spot and be comfortable and stuff like that. And it just sucks, man. Like, you know, this is the part where you're like, man, I wish I would have did things different because then I still be in my spot. But everything happens for a reason, you know what I mean? Like, what do you do? But we're grateful, you know what I mean? Like, we're happy to be back. Like, it could be worse, you know what I mean? Like, we could still be in that hotel room, still trying to figure out where the fuck we're gonna, you know, how we're gonna eat and how we're gonna pay for the room and stuff like that. So the fact that we don't have to do that, the fact that, you know, We're not stressing of, are we gonna sleep in a car, or if we're gonna have a car to sleep in, or how we're gonna eat. So at least, at the very least, it's like, we're grateful. You know what I mean? Because you don't have to. People don't have to do that. They don't have to open your home. So you just want to make sure that you use that time wisely to get yourself ahead while you're in somebody else's house. So that's what I do. Really, bro? I'm not in my car. I'm in my son-in-law's car. And he sits. He's taller than I am, and I'm sure he sits back a little further than what needs to be. And I can't adjust his seat to get closer. So I'm literally toe tapping, and it's a good thing that I'm not going far. Like, I'm not going far at all, but I'm literally toe tapping the accelerator and the brake. But it's been exciting. We got my nephew's here, and my nephew's autistic. He's 12 years old, and he's autistic, and so it's a pleasure being around him and seeing his growth. Like, even in the year that we've been gone, like, we've been, I won't say every minute, but since he was born, we've been in his life. We've made it a point to be fixtures in his life. So the fact that we were gone for a year kind of sucked, but when I walk back in, he's not really talkative, or he is way more now than when I left. Like, when I left, like, he had to be prompted to say stuff, and then he would say stuff. But when I walked in after not seeing him for a year, he was like, "Hello, handsome." And it made me smile. He said it twice. He was like, "Hello, handsome." And I was like, wow, okay. And he did that unprompted. Like, I didn't even say hi to him yet. I just walked in the door, and that was his response. So it was kind of cool. It was kind of cool, like I said, man, to see his growth. Like, it's been awesome. Like, because he was a lively kid. He looked normal, and I say it like that. Up to the point I say maybe he was almost 2, and then we started noticing signs of things and stuff like that, and then, like, I don't know if this is the correct terminology to use, but like, so like he regressed, kind of, sort of, if that's the right way to explain it. Like, he went from like being really social as a young baby to like taking a step back and stuff like that. Like, you can see that his autism was like setting in, and again, if that's the right way to say it, I don't want to offend anybody, or especially his mother, by not, explaining this correctly. But anyway, so like, it's been a struggle with him and for him, to getting him what he needs and stuff like that. His mom is a real trooper. She fights hard to make sure that he gets the stuff that he's prescribed and stuff like that. And then there's always the hope that you hear about children with autism, and they're nonverbal for years, and then one day people are like, just one day my son spoke. Well, autism is more common in boys, but he's like, my son spoke. He spoke, like, he said like a whole sentence, and it's like, you go through that and you're like, wow, you have that moment. It's like, wow, what I mean? Like, so I'm always telling them, like, AJ's gonna speak. AJ's gonna have full-on conversations one day. Just watch. And it just, it's gonna take some time when he develops that way, but I was like, he's gonna do it. AJ's so smart, He's so smart and he's so intuitive. He just doesn't know how to express himself. So it's a little trying sometimes. But we all put the effort in and try to do what we can to understand him and make him feel seen and heard and stuff like that. So, and like I said, man, his mom is like she thugs it out. Like she works hard at trying to make sure that he gets what he needs and has a good quality of life. So the steps that she's taken, as far as like getting her stuff together and buying her first house and stuff like that. Like that was all for him. That was all to give him stability and a place to call home. So like I said, she's busting her ass to do what she needs to do, and she's gotta. It was a struggle, like trying to come up with a method and a routine and stuff like that, but she figured it out, man. She's kicking ass. So we're proud. We're proud to come back and see the progress is made, his growth, both personally and physically. Like his girl, like that boy is big. Like his mom for a woman is tall. His father, my brother, is tall, and then mom's brother is tall. Like so, both mom's brother and both his other uncle and his father are over 6 feet, and then mom is like 5'9", 5'10", and that doesn't sound like a lot, but if you saw her mom, like her mom is like his mom is like all legs. Like she's pretty tall for a woman. So he's gonna be, and then we're all bigger folk. Like we got big genes in our family. So he's a big boy. So it was awesome to see like wow, this kid is huge. Anyway, let me get inside and try to find something to eat because I'm hungry.